Welcome back to Growth Catalyst Up. In our channel, we see three things: skills, productivity, and turbocharging your career. In today's episode, we are going to look at the beautiful art of taking notes. Managers drown in a sea of information. If you're a manager, if you're a part of a team, and especially if you're leading a team, whether a small team or a big team, doesn't matter. But if you're leading a team in any organization, then you are already leading projects and already drowning in the information. How do you ensure the information results in action? How do you ensure chaos results in planned, thought out follow up action? That is what we are going to look at in today's episode: the beautiful, wonderful art of taking notes, which propel you to have clarity at the end of the day, propel you to make clear decisions and assign responsibilities to all the members of the team. How do you do that? What are the things that will help you? That's what we are going to look at. Let's dive in. First, let's look at the requirement for a clear system, a good system for notes taking. We all get into meetings, we all think through. If you're a manager, even if you are managing a small team, or if you are a manager leading a large team, and if you are coordinating with cross-functional teams, then you would already know that you are drowning in 3x, 4x information compared to individual contributors. The number of meetings that a team leader, a team manager, a manager having a team has to go through is simply stupendous in today's organizations. Number of coordinations to be done, number of projects to be handled, and hence the amount of information to be handled, channelized, to be taken action for warrants a good, very good system of taking notes. Without such a system, people will be drowning in information. Remember, when you take notes, you are writing down action points, what really happened in the meeting, what are the risks discussed in the meeting, what are the decisions discussed in the meeting, what are the duties, responsibilities discussed in the meeting, what are the logics discussed in the meeting for these risks, for the decision to be taken, and for who has to do what, including researching something, talking to somebody, doing something, moving things to the next level. All of these have to be captured, and you are not writing a diary. You are writing all of this, you are noting down all of this, or you are getting your team to note down all of this so that people can come back, refer, they can go back with clarity in terms of what exactly happened in the meeting. Now, if this is what is required, then let's look at what are the components of the notes that you need from the prism of the components of the meeting and the next steps that one needs to take in an organizational context. What are the principles of note taking for managers? Let's take a look at that. One, capture. Don't rely on your memory. Memory is very, very fickle. A lot of times people don't remember what they discussed. A lot of times they don't remember why they discussed. A lot of times people don't remember what they agreed to as a result of all of the discussion at the end of the meeting. It's very, very fickle. And hence it is important to capture key moments, the context, decision taken, why it was taken, and therefore what, who needs to do what. All of these have to be captured with the purpose of everybody able to align on those points. And that is why you should not rely on your memory. Whoever is taking the notes in the meeting, whoever is conducting the meeting, whoever is coordinating the meeting has to ensure that the meeting notes are taken and shared with everyone. Principle number one. Purpose of notes taking is not to write down every single word. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to capture all the key points discussed in the meeting. The decisions taken, risks discussed, logic discussed, next step discussed, responsibilities discussed. All of these have to come in. Not every single word, every single aside, every single joke which was ever commented during the meeting. That is not the point. So clarity over completeness is principle number two in terms of notes taking for any managerial decision making meeting. A lot of times you will have many, many notes of many, many meetings, and retrieving, referring back to a meeting, referring back to what was discussed in the meeting becomes very, very difficult simply because of the way the meeting notes are tagged and kept and shelved. A lot of times it's very tempting to say that, okay, Monday morning meeting. And all the Monday morning meetings are available in a folder, assuming that electronically notes are taken in this day and age. But which Monday morning meeting is required? What kind of meeting was required? And in any Monday morning meeting, all kinds of things would have been discussed. In one Monday morning meeting of a given month, you might have discussed budgets. In another Monday morning meeting, you might have discussed project status. In yet another meeting, you could have discussed client requirements and so on and so on and so forth. What might be more useful is to tag and put all of these meeting notes into proper directories by the nature or the topic of the meeting rather than the date of the meeting. Within the topic of the meeting, if you also have a subfolder as the date of the meeting, it is easier to go, okay, I want to check and look at all the client related decisions, and then I want to look at the date. It will be easy to look at rather than the other way around. So you need to really deeply think about by how you are going to tag these meeting notes and how you are going to store so that it is easy to retrieve your information. Hence, principle number three, think about what and how you want to store it, and therefore retrieval becomes very easy for you. The next principle to think about is all of these meeting notes require review and a very quick review and a very consistent review at the end of the day. If you have a meeting today, it is very good practice to review the meeting notes today itself, or worst case scenario, at least tomorrow morning before your memory runs out. When you review, you will be able to add clarity to points where you have not taken clear points. You can also remove relevant points if there are there. When you review, when you add, when you subtract, when you remove irrelevant things, then the meeting notes are in a position to be shared with the team. And the whole point of taking notes is to share with the team. Hence, the team can take calls and move forward. You need to think about that. You need to review with the purpose of sharing the meeting notes as quickly as possible, as early as possible. But you need to review at least for 5 minutes to 10 minutes as to what all have been written, what are all important, who has to do what. All of this with absolutely only relevant points being there, shortened, irrelevant points removed, shared in a shareable form. That review is very important, and that review has to be done on the same day as the meeting, or worst case scenario, next day of the meeting. So what are the methods that you can use? One, what is called as a choral method. You have a notebook, whether it is a physical notebook, I would heartily recommend you use only electronic notebooks. You divide the notebook into three parts: left hand side, right hand side, with a divider in between, and a bottom portion. Left hand side, you take action items, decisions taken, what needs to be done next. Right hand side, you write down the rationale for all the decisions, the logic given, the context, and the bottom portion, a key summary of what happened in the meeting and therefore what the two, three key next steps are, along with who needs to do what. So, decisions, support and rationale and context, and the key points, two, 3 point summary as a quick scan available for you. That is method number one, what is called as a cornell methodology. The second method is what I call as the action log method. One side is tasks and commitments, another side, who needs to do what. That is yet another way of thinking about it. The third methodology is what is called as a meeting memory matrix. You have a 2 by 2 grid where in the 2 by 2 you have actions or decisions taken, the logic and the context given, the risks discussed, and it could be the fourth box, could be open items or the responsibilities assigned to people. It is a way of segregating the typical key things which would be discussed in any meeting in box format so that you can note down even as the discussion progresses, even as the meeting progresses, login points in those places. Instead of thinking about organizing those notes later, you organize the notes right inside the meeting itself. Very powerful method. The final one is when you are getting into a very complex project or a research project where different insights are being discussed. These insights may be discussed over a period of time, not necessarily only in that meeting, but on a series of meetings. How do you do that? How do you take notes for that? Then your notes could be in the form of insights, why those insights are exactly like what we discussed, but you should also have a way of connecting all of these points over a period of time. So it could be a series of insights on a number of cards, and these cards related to one particular insight. Suppose you are talking about a big project, complex project, And all of the insights which relates to consumer could be on a set of cards but related and linked together. All of the insights in terms of product modification, how do you go about product launches and so on, could be on a series of cards and linked together in some way of tagging. So you can think about different ways of a research project or a complex project which can span over many days in terms of discussion, in terms of chiseling out. But the principle of what you need to do within the meeting remains the same. So you need to choose whatever works for you, but choose wisely so that whatever works for you, whatever you choose, remains for you over a period of time. It helps you to store the points, note down the points during the meeting, and also helps you to retrieve whenever you want, and also helps you to help the teams on next steps and what they need to do. What are the do's and don'ts? Let's start with the do's. One, use consistent method. It could be Cornell method, it could be action grid method, it could be the 2 by 2 matrix method, whatever works for you, but be consistent so that when you go back to your notes, it's a consistent form. That consistency helps you in terms of decision making. Two, ensure that you not only note down the point discussed in the meeting, but also the discussion points in terms of who needs to do what, when, and where. That is sometimes missed out in the meeting, and that is such a miss in any meeting. What you need to do at the end of the meeting, what I need to do at the end of the meeting as part of the cross-functional team which attended the meeting, not clear, simply because we all lost it. There was no assignment of responsibilities at the end of the meeting. It's very, very important to do that. What all were discussed, what were the decision points, and as a result of these decision points, who needs to do what and by when, and who will do what as a sequence of this first step that somebody is doing. So X is doing this by today, Y will take it up and do something else by tomorrow, and Z will take it up and do something else day after tomorrow. If there is a structure like that, that structure also has to be captured as point of the meeting so that what is the dependent items, what follows what, and hence what is very, very critical in terms of getting done, without which the other things will stall. All of this become very, very clear as a result of your meeting notes. It is also important to ensure that you write down facts compared to your interpretation. And if there are interpretations from your side compared to what exactly explicitly happened in the meeting, call them out separately. Many, many times the note taker adds his point of view, his interpretation also as point of the notes taken in the meeting. Very difficult to delineate what really was discussed, what really was said in the meeting, and what really was the interpretation or the thought process of the note taker. Hence, it is important to delineate. So these were the facts, and this is what I think my interpretation is, this is what I think my viewpoint is, this is what I think needs to be done, which is my point of view compared to whatever was discussed in the meeting. This is open to interpretation, open to discussion by the other team members also. Hence, this, my interpretation, my point of view, if there are any that I am adding to the notes, should be completely captured separately. Let's come to the discussion and the debate on should it be paper, should it be digital. Paper is a fantastic medium, no doubts on that. It cuts out all the distractions. You don't have to worry about another mail pinging you. You don't have to worry about another message waiting for your attention, another email coming. All of this distraction goes away when you are using notes, physical notes for note taking. However, however, in today's day and age, people get into so many different meetings in any given day. Everyone does. And hence, if you end up writing all of that in notebook and then want to share, because sharing is the whole purpose of taking notes. You are not taking notes for yourself. You are taking notes on behalf of the team. You are taking notes so that the next action item can be told to the team. Only for that purpose, we are all taking notes in a given meeting. If that is the case, sharing becomes very important, and sharing becomes very, very difficult if you are using all physical notes. Hence, I will wholeheartedly recommend you go completely into digital age. Many notes, many systems suggest a best of both worlds. Use sometimes the physical notebook, note down, and then organize into digital notebook. I don't think that works anymore. My suggestion, clearly get into a consistent system of electronic note taking and use it very, very consistently, simply because of the advantages it confers. Yes, there are going to be distractions, but it is up to you in terms of discipline to cut out all of those distractions Remain focused on the meeting, remain focused on what you need to do, remain focused on what is being discussed, remain focused on next steps as a sequence of, as a follow-up of this particular meeting. It is easy to retrieve, it is easy to tag, it is easy to store, it is easy to share, it is easy to go back and look at what happened and when and what, and then look at over a period of time, look at all the projects which are sequenced together, related together, look at what all we have discussed, and as a result of all of these discussions, what is it that we need to do? Even to improve meetings, even to improve the kind of discussions you are having. All of these are possible only when you have digital notes which are taggable, which are storable, which are retrievable, and hence I wholeheartedly recommend you go to a good system of electronic note taking, not the physical one. One of the best practices that the greatest of the managers bring to the table when it comes to note taking. One, they treat note taking as a part of leadership skills, not administrative work. You are there, you are deputing somebody to take notes, or you are taking notes yourself. The whole point of taking notes during the meeting is to definitely ensure that the meeting doesn't end with meeting. The meeting doesn't end with discussing points. The meeting goes on to deliver results. The meeting, because of what you are discussing in the meeting, makes it abundantly clear for everyone attending the meeting as to what needs to be done after the discussion. That is the whole point of the meeting, and therefore, a great leader ensures that the note taking helps the meeting to move towards that. So, it's a leadership practice, not just a administrative task. A great leader also ensures that the meeting, all the minutes of the meeting, helps the team which came for the meeting in terms of what needs to be done next. The meeting notes are shared, and the entire note taking is done with a view of sharing it in an effective manner, tagging it in an effective manner, putting it, sorting out who needs to do what was discussed, what are the risks discuss in the meeting, and therefore what are the mitigation steps, what are the decision points taken, what is the supporting logic given, what is the context in which this meeting went on. All of that was stored so that anybody looking at the notes is able to understand what was the tenor of the meeting and take calls appropriately. And the calls are all given, who will do what and by when are all there, so that it is easy to look back and take a call in terms of, even from an effectiveness perspective, which teams are doing well, which person is doing well, which person is not doing well, and help the person as result of all of this. Third one, reviewing. A good leader, a great leader, reviews the notes taken on a consistent basis. He uses these reviews to archive the notes. He uses the reviews to look at what all has happened, what needs to happen, what is consistently, is there a pattern in the all of these meeting notes, and so on, so on. A great leader learns a lot from these notes taken over a period of time. And four, a note taking system is not only to assign responsibilities for the team members, but over a period of time, it also gives insights about how the meetings are happening, what is getting discussed in the meetings, what is not getting discussed and therefore not even there in the notes, who is contributing to the meetings, who is not at all contributing to the meetings, and it helps the leaders to think about why that person is not consistently not contributing to the meetings and who is able to deliver what was promised by the person. You can easily go back in the meeting notes. You can look at who agreed to do what and therefore what the person has delivered over a period of time. All of this become great tools of management in the hand of a great leader. So it is a leadership weapon, leadership tool, and not just an administrative task. What are the next steps for you as a manager? Simple 4 steps. Pick a method. To be Cornell method, it could be action log method, it could be matrix, 2 by 2 matrix that we discussed. Whatever works for you, but be consistent. The consistency helps you to note down on a consistent manner, retrieve on a consistent manner. So pick a method, stick with it, whatever works for you. Two, choose the app, choose the format, the electronic format wisely. It could be OneNote, which is available. It could be Notion, which is what you are fond of. It could be Excel sheet where you divide points into 4 2 by 2 grid, which makes it easy for you to note down. It could be PowerPoint, it could be Word, whatever works for you, note down. But think from the point of view of not only writing down, for example, Word is very helpful and easy to note down, but not very easy when it comes to retrieval, not very easy to tag it. Hence, think from not only from writing down perspective, also from retrieval perspective. But choose one, do it consistently over a period of time. The third one, review on a regular basis. Spend 5 minutes every single day looking at what meetings have happened, what notes you have taken, hence what needs to be done to the notes, what needs to be done to the meetings, what needs to be done as a result of the meetings, assigning responsibilities, getting things done. Because finally, you are taking notes only to get things done for the company. Four, our long-term review, weekly review of all things that you have done, planning for what happened this week, basis that what needs to be done next week, next month, and so on, so forth. So four-step process, adapt to it now. Good managers take good notes. Great managers build a system for them. In my next video, I'm going to talk about what are the free apps available, free systems available, which would help your note taking go to next level. Choose the right app, absolutely free apps. Why those apps? What kind of systems you can use? What kind of formats you can use? Wait for my next video. See you.